Imagine a video that is just focused on how to wire up a van. In this video, I'm going to show you guys the footage of me wiring up my Mercedes Sprinter here with my kids. And anything that I missed during the video, I'm going to go ahead and point out towards the end of the video. So I'll show you guys how to get entry into the engine bay, underneath the seats, where the reverse triggers are for the vehicle. And most importantly, I'm going to show you guys how I avoided a very complicated battery box, which saved me a ton of room. In this video, we're going to be wiring up the van. So we got the kids working, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what you need to do and how to do this safely. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome back to Random Fix. So I am wiring up the van here for the speakers and the 12 volt. And I'm going to show you guys what I've done, so you guys can go ahead and follow along. If you are into van building and you like this kind of content, make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up. So I'm going to show you guys everything that we're using here and give you guys a quick overview so you guys can do the same for your van. I got my older son up here in the front, and he's going to create some labels so everything stays nice and organized. Hey. So while the kids are getting everything prepped, let me show you guys what we're working with. I am working with speaker wire, and this is actually 12-4 wire, so it's thicker. And for shorter runs, I even use this for 12 volts. If you guys want to learn more about this, go ahead and check out the links down below. I used to work in car electronics, and for shorter runs, this is definitely no issue with 12 volts, under 10 amps. Then we got some 8 gauge cable. I got some 18 gauge 2-wire cable for 12 volt. I got some 4 gauge ground here, and we got a bunch of different zip ties. So we got zip ties that actually go into the little holes on the Sprinter, so I can go ahead and keep everything nice and organized. I have different kinds of wire loom. So this is the plastic kind, and this is the wraparound kind. This is the best one right here, but it can be very expensive. And we got a bunch of regular zip ties. And over here I have some even thicker gauge cable with the ground wire. And I got a crimping tool, a hammer, lots of different lugs, a heat gun, and lots of other little heat shrinks and things I can use throughout this project. So kids are hard at work. Cyrus is running the cable through all the factory holes. We're not trying to make any new holes. And then I'm going to show you guys what we're going to do to go ahead and prevent any sort of damage in the future. So Cyrus is going to go and run the wire for the speakers up through the C-pillar. We're using this tool. This is amazing. I learned about it from the previous van build. And we're going to go run this wire all the way back through these channels. And then we went ahead and made a hole right there. Avoided the pinch rail. We're going to go ahead and deburr that, file that down, paint it. Run the wire through here, drop it down through here, up, and we're going to put speakers and lights back here that are going to be button activated. So in case we need them, they're going to be in a perfect position. Now I don't have to go worry about mounting them outside. So let's go ahead and get this done. All right, just keep working it back. Okay, and then you want to make sure you keep feeding wire into it. Keep pulling up on it. So you want to keep this nice and tight. So we're still wiring. The kids are getting the thicker cables ready. This guy's ready to go ahead and put a lug on here. He's working on a lug back there. And we've run the very thick cable. So you have to run 0 gauge or 1/0 depending on your setup. Any place where we ran it through the wall, we went ahead and double secured it. So we went and put it inside of the plastic wire loom, this wire loom, before we went into the wall. It goes straight down through there and back there. So I am trying to just make one cover so I can go ahead and just stand up as I'm working on this, or if I ever need to service it, I can just do it back here. And the same thing for the forward area. Right here is going to be a seat, and this cover right here is going to allow me to access most of the electronics, so I don't have to sit here and get on my knees or try to keep this all in different components. So I'm going to go ahead and have the smaller electronic distribution from here. So there's going to be a big junction box right here for the DC loads. So I am going to be using that. It's a 4-post. And then we're going to distribute the power to the different controllers, relays, whatever we have going on right here. Now I just have to go ahead and find a suitable ground. He's going to go ahead and heat shrink that. And we made lugs on these wires, the bigger ones, front and back. And I'm going to make some grounding points right now that are near my junction box. And I'm going to need a couple of these, one at the front of the van and one at the rear of the van. Now we're going to go ahead and get rid of the paint around the grounding area. Show you guys what it looks like. So I have 2 grounding ports right here. These are really thick pieces of metal. This is grounded to the vehicle. And I got 2 of them up here, and I'm going to have 2 more back there. There's one up here too, but right here, okay?
You got that one good?
Alright, so we went ahead and made our grounding points. We made 2 of them out of some really strong hardware. I did put a locking washer on the inside, another flat washer, took off all the paint here, so that way we made sure we had an exposed metal, and these are in there tight. They're not going anywhere. I could even go for a 3rd spot if needed. And now I'm going to mount these on the other side like this and this and get them to work. So Cyrus is still working on the wiring. He is working on the chassis ground. And let me show you guys what we did inside. So we got the positive feed from the other side of the van, run all the way over. I got this mounted. I did not glue it. I don't like gluing things normally, so I like nuts and bolts. So this is riveted in here, and we got the negative grounds right here attached to right there. It's nice clean metal, and you want to go and do it right here, as you can access the grounds as you're putting them in to go ahead and hold the nut in place. So bus bars are run, and just be a little careful when you're doing this. Things can drop down here, so take a towel and put it underneath you, so in case you drop a nut or a bolt, it's not going to go in one of these channels because it's really hard to fish it out. So this is all the wiring. We're going to go and focus on making those grounds back here, nut and bolt, one down here, and then we're going to do the same back here. Then I'm going to run the lights for the vehicle. This is how you run the main power from front to back, and I am going to be using a 150 amp quick breaker over here, the kind that just can be reset in a second. Now it's really important to make sure any wire that you're going to be running inside of a cavity, so this channel right here is protected by sheathing and also some sort of wire loom. Sometimes you want to go ahead and double up on this. For example, on this thicker wire here, I have it in wire loom plus a flexible wire loom right here, and then I can go through and pull it through nice and easy and not be worried that this is going to go and get damaged over time. So again, if you're running wire inside of a channel, you want to put your fingers inside the channel and then pull up. If you try pulling up this way, it will go ahead and get stuck and it will bind. So just take your time, and you can hear there's a lot of different sharp pieces of metal inside these channels. That's why I've gone through and protected this. Now I can safely get this to the back for the rear speakers. So we are running wires back to front and making sure we label everything. I am running a couple of extra 4 wire connections, and I am going to use these as 4 different signals if I ever need them. I am going to label this as extra, and I can go ahead and just run the positive through here, as there's negative grounds all over the vehicle now. Z is running everything inside the channeling here. The grounds back here are done, and we're going to go ahead and finish this up. Is this fun, Z?
Yeah.
Is this the only thing you wanted to do today?
Yes. And then enjoy the rest of my birthday weekend.
There's no birthday weekends for van builders. And if you want to run wires inside the barn doors here, it's very easy. There's an access hole right over here. And once you reach into there, you'll find this plug, and it has these 4 clips. You basically use your hand or a very small flat tip screwdriver and compress these in, and this pops off, and there's going to be a connector just like that. And this is very easy to undo. I ran the wire through here. Run wire that has some sort of protective sleeve, by the way. It just goes in here. I didn't need to use any tools. I just kind of poked it through, reached up here, and then pulled the wire down. And I ran it pretty long, and it's a 4-wire, so I can go 2 up top and 2 down here if needed. And I'm going to do the same on the opposite door. So the passenger side is not as straightforward with this. I don't know why, but same idea. You need to go ahead and undo the grommet right here, and it's kind of tricky, so you kind of got to get your hand in there and watch out for these sharp edges here. Now I've run the wire. I'm going to drop that in here, and in case you're looking for the reverse trigger wire, it's this middle one right here, blue and white. So on this van, when I go into reverse, I am going to have some exterior lights that get triggered, and that's why I'm doing that. Keep note of it. Again, it's the middle wire right here, reverse trigger wire, and make sure you keep it low wattage or go to a relay if needed. Do not go and run a heavy light bar off this, as you could potentially blow some fuses and damage the electrical. So the good news is the van is all done. The kids really helped out, and I'm going to show you guys all the stuff that I wish I would have known before I started this camper build, because every single time I complete one, I learn a little bit more, and I'm going to share that with you guys. Now let's talk about bringing power into the engine bay. So to power up these lights and the underglow that is right here behind the grill, and the pod lights which are right here, I needed to bring power. So the way I did that is I actually utilized these boots. There's 2 of them. There's one on the passenger side, one on the driver's side. There's a simple zip tie that goes and shuts it down and makes sure that water doesn't enter. And this leads right into the cabin area, and you can reach your hand up there and not have to remove any panels. And trust me, you do not want to remove a bunch of panels on the Mercedes, as if you do, they never go in the same way again and the clips just wear out. So I brought power through here, and then it goes up to the lights. And I did the same for the underglows. They just run right here, down through here, and on the sides. And the nice thing is the wire is not visible. Here's the other side, and on the other side I even ran some thicker wire here in case I ever needed something with a little bit more power. And there's also some power already inside the engine bay, and some people actually tap into this. You would remove that red screw, and you may have to use a 1/4 inch 20 thread. You can get power out this way. I didn't want to touch this, so I brought that over, and it's worked out. Now let's talk about the seat area, as it's really important and allows for convenience if done correctly. So if you need a triggered remote, it's going to be underneath the driver's side seat. So anything that I talk about, whether it's the stereo or the air conditioner, just know that everything's down below. So this is where all the connections can be made. Right here is going to be the battery, and there's a little channel that actually runs between the driver's side and the passenger side seat. And if you need access to the front, there's a little hump, and that's how the wire gets routed there. Once it makes it to the front area here, I just routed it this way, up and over the components, and it goes straight to the engine bay. Now if you want to go ahead and upgrade your stereo, I'm going to leave you guys a video on how to go through and pop off the door panels and change the speakers, how to remove these right here, and they're a little tricky to put back on, and I have you guys covered. And I even have an amplifier underneath that seat right there that I can trigger anytime without the engine being on, just by flipping that. And now that amplifier can be turned on if I don't touch that. Anytime the engine's running, the amp is on, and it allows for a lot of flexibility. It is Bluetooth. I'll leave you guys that review. Now underneath the driver's side seat, there's not really much room to go and add anything. But on the passenger side seat, you have the option of using this for a lot of different purposes. So as I mentioned, I'm using it for an amplifier and a subwoofer. And also know that you can put a diesel heater underneath this particular seat, or you can install an inverter. And for the inverter, it's actually not a bad location, as you can get shore power plug from the front, and all you would do is run the wire underneath, and once you get it to that corner, you can then bring it into the engine compartment. And on my previous build, I actually installed a shore power plug right here onto the plastic, and from being in touch with the owner for the last 4 years, they've never had any issues, as the water rolls back, and that particular plug has always stayed dry and is very stealthy. Now let's talk about the B pillar. The B pillar is going to be the section that's right behind the seats. So going forward, that is going to be the A pillar, B pillar. And so to get power to these components, I needed to be able to route them underneath. And the way I did that is underneath each seat, there's going to be these panels here, and you can actually just move these out of the way. And there are the wires. And now routed them going towards the driver's side. And they go that way. And basically come into this cavity here. Now once I make it into this cavity, it's very easy then to go through and go up here, because there's a cavity right here that runs up and down. So there's no need to go to the rear cavity, which is going to be the C pillar, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. And this is how I avoided that complicated battery box. This is going to be a 8-gang wireless switch. So it has a total of 8 different connections. This right here is a zombie light I hooked up. Water pump. I'll show you guys the rack lights and the cube lights in front as well. This was so much simpler than designing a complicated battery box, as it's ultra thin and it's all behind here. And the best part is, if I want to go and service this, I don't have to be on my hands and knees. And I just need to remove this bolt and this bolt. And this particular one actually has a trim. So there's a smaller bolt right there. And once that comes out, this panel just drops down like that. And I tried to do the same for all the connections. So anytime there's a connection, I try to build it into the side walls instead of the upper panel, because this is really hard to remove once the van is completed. This is not so hard to remove. And in case you guys are wondering about the factory harness that runs from front to back, I have a whole different video for that. So this is going to be my battery system here, and it's got solar charging and also alternator charging, and the inverter, everything else is built in to turn it on. I have a switch right here, and that turns on the inverter. I normally just leave the DC power on. And this does have a master kill switch, which is going to be located right there, the red light. For the lights in the front and on top, I can either use that remote right there, the orange one. I can use my phone. I also have another remote. Or I can go ahead and turn on the switch here. And for the lights on the hood and on the bumper, there's a switch that is located on the front of this seat. So redundancy is key. And all the extra wires that I actually ran here, I ended up using them, because as I was building the van, I started discovering things, and I wanted to go and utilize all these cool features without having to rewire things. Try to avoid making extra holes. So this is my air conditioner, my solar, my LED light bar, and also my rack light. Power all runs through here. There's no extra holes on top of the van. Additionally, when you're wiring up the van, try to stick with 12-volt components whenever possible. So this happens to be a 12-volt monitor. What that means is I don't need an inverter to be on for this to power up, and it's USB-C powered. And also, they make computers and such devices that are 12 volts, so no need for any sort of bulky adapters or plugs. And again, This is connected straight to my battery bank and no adapter. Try to do the same for the refrigerator and even the heating. Try to make it 12 volts whenever possible. And this goes for my air conditioner as well. There's so much simplicity in 12 volts. I'll leave you guys a review of my power station, and in that video I go into a deep dive of 12 volt components and the many benefits. Future proofing doesn't mean just running a couple of extra wires. Sometimes you have to use specialized wires. So in my cabin area right here, I ran USB-C, Ethernet, RCA cables, and also power up there. It is going to be 100 times easier than having to take all of this apart. The other thing to do is to also remember that you want to build in redundancies. So sometimes I'm gone camping and my kids are hanging out in the front and they might be playing their video games. I could be in the back and I don't like having the light on top of my face. It is much easier to go through and account for this in the beginning. So I built a small little switch here that I can turn the lights on and off with. Also, sometimes when I'm working, I want to dim the lights. So there are going to be dimmers that are underneath the counters here. And there's one by the door here too. I can also utilize the lights from Mercedes-Benz. So here's the light right here. And even that light in the very back right there over the two doors works. So lots of places to go and turn the lights on and off. I built one extra one, which I'll show you guys towards the back. So normally when I sleep, my feet are towards the bathroom. Head is that way. And if I need to go to the bathroom at nighttime, it's much easier. Or if I need to turn off the lights, I can just reach up above my head and get that done with. And here's the little guy that helped me with all this work. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
Just got home from school?
Yeah.
Nice. Ready for a nice long weekend in the camper van?
Yeah.
I'm making a video on how to wire up the van. That was a lot of fun, huh?
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. But it's easy to solve once you watch the video because most of the problem solving was us off filming. So yeah.
And now let's talk about some power that you don't want to easily interrupt. So this is my bathroom, and again, there's no other switches than the unit itself. Has a light switch, a blue light, and if this was too dark or too bright, I can dim it down. And now let's take a look at this light switch. So this is a light switch I have. This will light up everything underneath the bed area here. And I'll show you guys a little peek at that. And also, you can build in other components. This is going to be a 12 volt fan I have. And it puts out a lot of heat. And I also have heating pads for the tanks that are outside the vehicle here. These are gauges that get activated when the water pump turns on. And then I can quickly check the water level for the clean water and also the dirty water. And those wires are routed through the wall, through the kitchen galley, and down the floor where the plumbing is actually run straight out and into the water tank. So again, I only had to make 2 holes, one for the shower and one for the plumbing for the kitchen galley, and it worked out. So these are the pod lights, the LED light bar, and the rack lights are right up there. And on this side, there isn't much wiring, but the underglows all got routed underneath the vehicle. And I'll show you guys a picture of this and how it looks. And again, the whole key here was running that extra wire as I was able to utilize it. Now let's talk about shore power. So here's my shore power connection. And right here, there's a big old hole from Mercedes, and it's covered by a rubber grommet. If you pop that off, you can take wire and run it right in here. And there's actually a hole from Mercedes that you can use for plumbing and other things right here. It's already pre-drilled. You just got to reach in the inside, and on the short power video I'll show you guys that. Hooked up some speakers all the way in the back, and also some power ports. Here's a power port, and there's one right here to cover up some of these holes. These components were on sale from Etsy. They make this particular cover here, and I'll try to leave you guys a link down below. If not, please comment and I'll get you the link. And this covers up the whole D pillar here. And underneath here, this is where all those wires are actually hidden. And again, if I need to service this, I just take these 8 bolts, back them off, and I have complete access to this. So on the right, I have the plumbing. Here's that 12-volt heater that I showed you guys earlier. The water pump is on top. This is the water tank, and we also have the water heater. And those are going to be my power stations. Cooling fans and all the breakers are right there. Here's that light switch. And all of these light switches also dim too. Additionally, all the Mercedes lights all work. And I did this because I use a diode. So I'll leave you guys a video that is called "A Diode is a Camper Van's Best Friend." And they're amazing and very affordable to do. And whenever you're doing this, think about the long game and convenience in the future. So there's power here. And if you guys look towards the back, I actually did not hook up any sort of speakers on the door, as I found out it's better to get them inside that panel that I showed you guys. So this particular door right here is pre-wired in case I ever want to do something else. For the reverse lights, I went through and already ran the wire, and the wires are already just sitting here for me to use in the future anytime I have a project that needs them. It's much easier to do the work ahead of time, guys. Extra wires sitting around are not going to hurt anything. And here's that kitchen galley from the outside. Here's the lights. This is going to be power. Sometimes when I'm gone to a park or for a picnic, I just don't like the smell accumulating in the van, so I'll just plug in an extension cord here and cook outside. And also with the camper van, think about simplicity instead of trying to run wires everywhere. So instead of having switches to turn on components, try to go wireless. This right here is going to be for my water heater. Number 2 is going to be the induction. Number 3 is going to be the convection. 99% of the times they just get left off, and I don't take any chances with something like a water heater being left on because it consumes a lot of power. So when I put it back, I put it back like that. That way there's no chance of something turning on if somebody accidentally touches that button. Now, if you're looking for a camper van that you can enjoy year-round, one of the things you have to do is insulate and sound deaden, and then finally put a vapor barrier. This vapor barrier is known as reflectives, and the reason I'm mentioning this in a video about wiring is because that stuff is conductive. So in this particular battery box that I built, and at first I used that aluminum reflectives, and boy oh boy did I find out that was not the thing to do. Then I had to go use the plastic stuff, as the plastic stuff wasn't giving me any issues. Anyway, let me know if I missed something. I'll leave you guys all those links down below, as well as a free list of all the different components that I use in the van. And I'll also leave you guys the tour of the van so you guys can check it out in 360. Comment down below. Let me know if this was helpful. And as always, make it a great day.